Hello, students. This is Dr. Tracy here for week 3. Boy, the weeks are just flying by. We're almost half through. So let's talk about what's important for this week, and that is the micro-internship project. Remember last week we talked about the POLC paper and went over all the requirements for that. And again, if you have any questions about that, please send to me. Just an aside, very quickly, I did set up in Canvas a team or group page for each of the 4 groups: planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and already sent messages to your group. So make sure that you look to see. That's where I will communicate with you on a group by group basis and answer any questions or concerns you have at the group level for your POLC paper. So anyway, so I hope that your groups are all well on the way. I did get your group plans and look through those this evening. So let's then talk about the micro internship project. Both projects are different, but linked to the same not-for-profit, New Beginnings, and their Innovation Village. But again, they are 2 separate projects. The POLC paper deals with the paperwork, the planning, the getting it, the outline for that Innovation Village from all different parts of management. The micro internship actually has a product. How are we going to move this plan forward? How are we going to market it and get the word out there? So that's what the micro internship project is. So let's talk about what that involves. Okay, so the groups for the micro internship project are different than the groups for your POLC. You will not have the same group members. This is so that you can get to know your classmates a little more easily. Um, this week, we are talking at the content level in your readings about mission, vision, goals, objectives. Those are all important for your micro internship project, and especially for the new beginnings that we're working with. They do have an interesting mission statement. We'll look at that in just a minute, but make sure in your readings that you pay particular attention to how those differ. The mission and vision are not the same. They have different focal points. The goals and objectives are not the same as mission and vision. I mean, they're all related, but they're very, very different. So make sure that you understand the nuances among all those different types of management processes that are engaged in running any kind of business, for profit, not for profit, doesn't matter. You need those very good management strategies. So let's look at New Beginnings mission statement. And here it is. And this is from their website. And I hope that for both projects, the POLC and the micro internship, that you have gone to their website and that you've looked at all the different kinds of things that this not-for-profit is doing for the community. So their mission statement is to empower people to live a responsible life. And this is how they do that. They do that through a servant's heart, unconditional love, strong prayer life, humility, and integrity. So you can see this organization is all about serving. That servant leadership is the type of leadership that they have in management style for their business. So that's important for you to know as you're working through both the planning, the POLC paper, and the micro internship project. So let's look at the 4 groups for the micro internship. So every group has a different focus. One group is doing brand identity. One group is looking at the social media and what they can do there. Another group is planning an event, and another is looking at the donors and how they can get them involved. Now, for each of these 4 groups, and again, the membership will be different than your POLC, you're going to have to do a little bit of research, but that's okay. Management is about that. You're not going to have all the answers. You're going to have to dig a little bit to get to the point where you feel like, oh, yes, this might work. So those are the 4 groups, and let's look a little bit about look at each one of those individually. So the brand identity. Okay, for this group, and here are your members. You're going to develop a brand identity. You're going to decide what colors would work. How exciting! You get to pick this out. A tagline, look at, something that, for Innovation Village. This is for folks who are perhaps in transitional housing. They're going to stay here for a while. So what might you use as or a disruptive way of housing? Look to see what you can do to identify and brand this. Now, to do that, you're going to have to know a little bit more about, innovative housing and housing for those who are homeless. That's what this is for, homeless housing. So, some kind of brand identity. Now, whatever you do is not going to be wrong. It will be probably, on a scale of, well, this is probably okay. This is probably better than okay. This is really great. So, but you get to be a little creative here, but you have to know something about New Beginnings and Innovation Village and what that's about to do that. So, make sure that you do your research. Social media, we're going to propose a video series sharing success stories. You can use this. The group asked, can we talk about Maria's journey? The best way to get stories out there is to interview people who perhaps live in Innovation Village. Now, Innovation Village hasn't been fully built yet. So that's why we're on the front end. We're going to help, think this thing through. So you're going to have to make up someone. You're going to pretend to, I'm going to interview this person and this person had this kind of an experience and how you would share it. Would you do it as an interview? Would you do it as a documentary? Would you do it, how would you do it? So that's what's exciting. You get to think about it. Now put this into a calendar. So your social media calendar may be for just a semester or maybe just for the summer. That's what we're doing. We're here for the summer. So you may do a 7-week social media calendar and maybe you have some special event or a story each week. One for the 7 weeks. And what would that story be about? And what would the theme? The themes might be different. You may interview a single mother one week. You may interview someone who is right out of his or her teens and is living alone. Or maybe it's an elderly person who doesn't have family members. Or maybe it's someone who is disabled in a certain way. So you get to decide what these success stories are. But remember, it's a success story, so there has to be a happy ending to it. So in any event, the social media group, that's all of these are so exciting events. You're going to plan one creative interactive event. And here's an idea: Village Vision Night. Yeah, community mapping, storytelling, and donor pledging. So maybe that interactive event, maybe it's a fun thing. Maybe it's a potluck dinner where, you go to, it's like a treasure hunt. You go to different places in the community and there's a special story that will be told at each site and something special to eat to go along with that story. You can be creative, but it's a way of getting the community together and inviting the donors so they can see how together this community is coming and how they're, how this is really making a difference in these people's lives. And then donors, these are the people who are going to underwrite or help fund the Innovation Village because they feel like it's a worthy cause. And so they want to put forth, effort, money, whatever, support, volunteer work to help get this off the ground and to make it work. So there has to be a strategy for how you can get the word out to these different groups. So how can you get the word out to legacy donors? You're going to have to find out what a legacy giver is, okay? But you could probably figure it out from the word legacy. These are people who give year after year after year because that's part of who they are. And then corporate sponsors, businesses, you're going to read about corporate social responsibility. And so that's, a corporate sponsor. We're going to adopt you, New Beginnings and Innovation Village, because we think that, you're onto something here. Or people like maybe you or I, monthly advocates, we'd really like to just give a little bit each month to help support this. I know I do that for several causes. So, it just comes out automatically. You know that you're helping in a small way to support that. And what that might look like, a sample donor package might be just a handout, to give them on the Innovation Village, make it look really great, and say, this is worthy of your attention. So I think each of these four you're going to have to do some digging and some research, but that is good for baccalaureate students. But you also have the opportunity and the chance to be creative and make a difference. And we're going to share these ideas. So that's the part that I want to make sure that you are aware that this is serious. Okay? All right. So the presentation of the micro internship, there are four groups, and we are doing an hour-long presentation to the staff of New Beginnings and some of their board members, and maybe even some other community members about what you've done. So your work needs to be very good. These are important people. This is a good way to get your name out there, you know? So you'll have 15 minutes. And you're going to present your ideas and recommendations through PowerPoint. So each of you will have a PowerPoint presentation. If you want to do a handout, for example, that donor package that I just talked about, if you do a one-page handout for the donors to put in the donor package, you may want to distribute something like that. And I can help you print any copies of things so you don't have to absorb the cost of doing that. But the PowerPoint, everybody will be doing every group will be doing a PowerPoint. Now, each group has one PowerPoint. You don't have four PowerPoints, like one person in the group. No, it's each group, there will be four PowerPoints, and the group will do a group PowerPoint. You can decide who delivers the PowerPoint presentation. You can divide up some of the responsibilities if you want everyone to participate, or you can just have one person. The presentations will probably be via Zoom, but I would really like to do it in person. And so if that's you talk among your group members, it will be during week 7, and I think it's the 25th of June, which is a Thursday. I need to check with New Beginnings folks, but in any event, we are going to do a synchronous presentation on Thursday. So one of your group members will need to be available to give the presentation, at least one. So you need to decide who that person will be in your group. So the format for the PowerPoint for all groups will follow the format below. And this is your documentation for your project. What is your project focus? The one of the four. What did your research uncover? You tell me a little bit about the research. What do you recommend for Innovation Village? So what did you come up with? You know, if it's brand identity, what's your tagline? You know, just quickly describe that. Describe the recommendations clearly and using graphics, and ask if there are any questions. So this is actually how your PowerPoint will flow. So your PowerPoint, your first slide will say, you know, we are discussing, or, you know, we are providing a brand identity for Innovation Village, or we are providing a social media plan for Innovation Village, or we are providing the donor package. So you let them know right off which of those four you are recommending for Innovation Village. And then again, the next slide or two, you need to share what your research has uncovered. Make sure you tell where the research came from. And it needs to be from some reputable sources like Forbes or some Business Insider, you know, some reputable resource, not Wikipedia. So anyway, and then your recommendations for your particular topic, which of those four, what are your recommendations? And then make it look pretty, graphics and everything, and then take questions from the participants. So that's how your PowerPoint should be set up. The grading for the micro-internship projects. There are two parts for the micro-internship. There are two 75 and 75 point parts of the micro-internship. So you must register your micro-internship project in College Central and their instructions for that, and upload the PowerPoint presentation as evidence, and that's 75 points. You have to get that done. And then every student in the group will get the same grade for your PowerPoint presentation. And I will use a rubric, and the maximum is 75. I hope you all get 75. I want outstanding presentations, and I want you to blow the socks off the people at New Beginnings, and they'll really think great things about you. And if you have business cards printed up, even though you're a student, I'd pass them out, if we do it in person. If not, if it's a Zoom, you can still do the same kind of thing. They'll remember you. In any event, that's the grading. It's 150 points, the same as your POLC is 150. Both of those big projects are worth 150 points each. In any event, remember to research New Beginnings website to learn more about the organization. Let me know if you have any members in your group who are not participating. I already know who you are, many those who one or two who are not participating. And I'm just going to take you out of the group if you're not participating. So just so you know, email me with any clarifications or questions that you might have. And do the research on your area of focus for your micro internship. There are a lot of great ideas out there, and I hope you borrow some with appropriate attribution, of course. But that's what research is all about. You get to go out and find out what there is out there. So, in any event, have a wonderful week. Enjoy working on the micro internship project. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to answer. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And again, any questions, reach out. Thank you.